Knock, knock. Who's there? Oh! There it is. There it is. If anyone was wondering, they wanted to see the carnage on the Mazda. There it is.
Dude, they're organic fruit snacks.
Full blast.
Cage free.
You want to like shout out the organic fruit snacks? Is that what you want to do? I don't think we could do that. But anyway, so here it is, guys. Mazda is finally on the lift, and tonight we're gonna drop the subframe completely with the motor and everything, and the trans still connected. Here's the motor that I finally got from the yard. A leak down test, everything's good. Passes with flying colors, kind of. But this motor was definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? Beaten. So there's a few things I want to do to this before, you know, I put it into the car. But right now, we're gonna tear the suspension apart, remove any underbody shields, and yes, we don't have to drain the oil, right? Because it's already out of the car.
It's all outside.
Oh, that's out. What about the coolant?
Not worried about that.
Oh, okay. All right. So first things first, we thought it'd probably be a better idea since it's really tight in here. We took the hood off, and secondly, if you do it any other way, it's probably not a good idea. But you're gonna need to evacuate the refrigerant system. So that's what I have here. I got a nice snap-on AC machine, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna recover the AC system. Yeah, if someone finds out that you, you know, kind of just, you know, vent to atmosphere, as I like to call it, you expect a very large fine. But if you don't get caught, you don't get caught. But for now, that's what I'm doing. We're gonna start draining a lot of the fluids, so a lot of stuff doesn't drip on us. And so after we got majority of the stuff apart, took the front bumper off, realized it's probably the best way, since this car is all-wheel drive, that the rad support comes off very easily, and since one, there's no coolant in it, and two, I recovered the air conditioning system, I can disconnect all that stuff. Literally just pulling the rad support off completely, all as one unit, and then we can use a cherry picker and pick the engine up off the subframe and out. That'll save us removing all the suspension stuff and messing with the steering rack, because this car has a little bit of age to it, and I definitely don't want to be messing with any steering components, especially the steering column down to the steering rack. Who knows how badly it is rusted. I definitely don't want to be taking that apart. So as you can see, we took the intercooler off for the battery, a lot of the coolant lines and whatnot, and we're just kind of just picking away at stuff that, you know, will kind of get in the way of us taking. All right, we got the rad support off. So that's what we're doing right now. Drain whatever the rest of the coolant that was in here, and slowly picking up on the harness and kind of disconnecting everything, you know, out of the way so we can pull the engine out all by itself. Check out this carnage though. The block completely opened up.
Did you ever just stab yourself with a pick?
You ever just stab yourself with a pick?
I just want to like.
Oh, like really?
Rage.
Oh.
All right, continue. I'm sorry.
You stab yourself with a pick, you want to rage. All right, cool. Next thing, we're gonna pull the harness, get the majority of the harness out of the way, and we gotta figure out something with the exhaust. The exhaust is kind of rusted, so I sprayed that down with some rust off and PB blaster type stuff. But got majority of stuff out of the way, and we're gonna start, you know, kind of picking at this thing and getting it ready to pull out. But this is definitely easier than dropping it completely out of the car from underneath. It didn't take us that long, maybe an hour or so, if that, to pull the rad support off and get it to this state. All right, we got everything disconnected. Got both axles out, drive shaft disconnected. There's only four 14mm nuts to disconnect that, which is really simple. We disconnected the two lower control arms on each side so we can get the axles out. All we have to do is hoist the engine up, and it's going to be ready to come out. We organized a bunch of stuff over here. We put the radiator supports over here, the hood and whatnot. It's all easy, simple stuff. It was actually fairly simple to disconnect the harness. Everything was pretty much, you know, laying on top of the engine and whatnot. And you have everything. The body harness for the engine is like over here, and everything on the engine is still connected. So next step is to hoist the engine out, put it on the ground, and we will start swapping it over to the, hopefully with nothing wrong with, yard motor. Everything leaked down and whatnot. All right, so we got the on it, like I said, hooked up. Stay tuned. There's two lift points right here on the engine. There's two like little mounts, whatever. You can hook the chain up onto this crane, and basically all we have to do is remove these two motor mount bolts right here and the two trans mounts over here, and everything's disconnected underneath, and we're literally just. All right, so we got the engine out. We used the hoist to get it all out in one shot. As you can see, you know, we got no engines. We got no engines. Yo, Pat.
What's that?
We got no engines. So, next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna strip this one by one, piece by piece, in sections. You know, I'm gonna take everything off the exhaust side. He's gonna take everything off, you know, and just kind of strip it down to bare head and block. And we're gonna strip the yard motor to bare head and block. And I'm gonna reuse the majority of this stuff because this engine is in a, you know, everything around this engine is way better condition than the engine that was sitting at the yard. We got new stuff like water pump. As you can see here from Mazda, we got a new water pump, spark plugs, you know, gaskets, and just extra hardware. It's really good to get, like, especially exhaust stud hardware, because you don't know, especially with a car that's old as this and rusted, and it's a Japanese car. I apologize for the poor video quality, but holy crap. That would be the front, and this is the rear. That is insane. The rod definitely let loose. I wish I can get some internal stuff, but I want to see something cool. This is the transfer case bracket that took one for the team. Homie took one for the team. This piece right here that's missing, that saved the transfer case. That's pretty nifty because I'm gonna get a new one of these. Actually, the other motor has one on there, thank God. And yeah. Okay. It looks on this side. Thanks, little buddy. Surprisingly, fairly simple. There is, give or take, I think there's 5 17mm bolts that hold the transfer case on. And the transfer case literally just slides off this, I guess the input shaft right here, and it literally just slides off easily. In order to take the trans off, you gotta take that transfer case off. And yeah, so that's where we're at right now. Transfer case, trans, and the rest of the broken engine right here. So next step is to remove the flywheel and replace, you know, necessary hardware onto the new-ish junkyard motor. So that's what we're gonna do next. Kind of missed a few steps, but got new flywheel bolts. The clutch was recently replaced on the other one, so there's not necessary to replace the clutch. Even though I suggested to replace the clutch, if you're really pulling the trans, it's probably a good idea to replace the clutch while it's out. So, but it's not what he wanted. So anyway, what I did so far was the old exhaust manifold studs, they were really rusted and kind of chewed up, so I put new ones on there. I'm in the process right now of replacing the valve cover gasket, and I'm changing the spark plugs. Actually pretty surprised what I found in here. The engine is really clean. There's not really that much sludge. It only has 79,000 miles apparently, but this is where we're at right now. We're just picking at it a little bit before we pick up the trans and set it up. Doing some stuff because with the trans on there and it has how it is on the hoist, I'm sorry for the terrible camera work, but with the engine on the trans, all the way around, dumb beat. With the trans on the engine while it's on the hoist, everything kind of just, like, you know, leans, and it's really obnoxious. And the junkyard, they just cut things off, so we're going in there and removing all the lines that they cut off so we can put the original existing lines on there and kind of, you know, fix some of the crap that's on this. So this is where we're at right now, and hopefully we can get a majority of this stuff back together and kind of put it in the car tonight, so then tomorrow we can get it ready to start. So it's pretty much all back together. We got a lot of new stuff on it, new exhaust gaskets and whatnot. We haven't drained the oil yet. We're gonna do that one in the air, but here it is, fully assembled, fully swapped. You just gotta just put it in there, you know, in there.
No lube.
No, I don't know if I can say that on YouTube.
You can say no lube.
A no lube. Probably something I should have mentioned earlier. Probably want to get new fluids. What, you know, your systems take. ATF for power steering, definitely an oil change, because who knows what's going on in there and how long this has been sitting. Transmission fluid, obviously, because we had the axles out and transmission fluid came out, and the transmission was kind of tilted sideways and fluid leaked out. We didn't disconnect anything hydraulic or brake fluid or anything like that, so we don't have to worry about bleeding the brakes or anything like that, which is good. But at this point, we are wiring all back together, putting the harness back in. Once we get the front clip on and hook the air conditioning line up, we're gonna put the recover the system, suck it, and vacuum it down so we can put AC back in the car. But this is the next step, and stay tuned for.
All right,
hopefully
so
we'll be able to start it
before we start it, I didn't take a video of this, but I know this engine's not fresh, but when you do any sort of engine work or anything, like if you have a new engine, this is not a new engine, I know that, but it's good to prime the engine and get all the oil pressure and build oil pressure, you know, because who knows how long this engine's been sitting in the yard. So went ahead and did that, bled the cooling system, added power steering fluid. I didn't put any AC refrigerant in there yet, doesn't really matter, but we're gonna go ahead and start it now. First start, here we go. Whoa! There it goes. No signs of leaking. Sounds pretty healthy. At least it runs. It doesn't sound all crazy. So all we have left to do is put the front end on and make sure the coolant bled, let it warm up full temperature so we can get the coolant at the right temp. But yeah. All right, there it is. It runs. Done. Thank God. Road testing it and everything was great. Coolant level's good, oil level's good. There's no leaks. Check engine light's not on. There's no faults. I'm gonna fill it up with gas tomorrow and take it for a little bit more extensive road test. It's fully up to temp. Just lifted it up to make sure that there's nothing leaking, and we're all good. So that's it. I mean, the customer is really happy that everything went well, but he is going to look into possibly replacing the timing chain, getting a fresh one in there, and doing ARP connecting rod bolts and bearings, because that seems to be the problem on these. And they just let loose, and he doesn't want to have this issue again because he definitely spent a lot of money on this. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you need anything at all, send me a message. And if you're from the Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area and you would like to get some work done by us, hit me up in the comments and I'll contact you, and we can go from there. All right, thanks guys.